Nebraska had a huge recruiting weekend this Saturday. Of course, the Huskers got it done versus Wisconsin, but there are some massive recruiting implications because of that win. So in today's video, I'm going to go over every single player who came on campus, what they said after Nebraska's victory, will they commit soon, and some very notable players who didn't end up making the trip. So really quick, I have a massive recruiting update for today. Make sure to hit that like button if you're fired up. And really quick, we just hit 7,000 subscribers on the channel. I want to thank every single one of you. If you were a diehard Husker fan, make sure to subscribe to join the family. Road to 8,000. I post videos every single day. You will be thanking yourself that you subscribed. But without further ado, let's get into it, going over Nebraska's huge recruiting weekend and some massive takeaways from the Huskers' win versus Wisconsin and what it means for some potential new commits. So first things first, I want to talk about Aiden Manutai. Now, I reported on Friday that he will be making the trip for the Wisconsin game. He ended up not coming last second. He ended up changing his plans to go to the Cal football game versus Stanford. So things are looking very, very bleak with that flip for the Huskers. Of course, a lot of crystal balls have been rolling in over the last couple of days. I said it was pretty much close to a done deal that Nebraska would land Aiden Manutai. Now, my guess is that Cal made yet another very aggressive NIL offer, very similar to what Nebraska did with Jeremiah Jones. Of course, the Huskers upped their NIL to keep Jeremiah Jones from flipping to Mizzou. I think Cal did a very similar thing there with Aiden Manutai. They upped his NIL and said, hey, we really want you in this class. We want to keep you, so we're going to pay you more money. So I think that's what happened there with Aiden Manutai. I don't think it's over necessarily. Nebraska's odds aren't zero, but the fact that he didn't end up making the trip and he went over to Cal instead, not a good look for the Huskers. But again, best case scenario, he flips on signing day, or he can delay his signing until the January period. So wanted to mention that around Aiden Manutai, but again, things are not looking good there. Second player I want to go over, Malachi Lee, four-star offensive lineman who did make the trip. This guy is a Polynesian stud offensive tackle, very high four-star prospect, and he said that he loved his time at Nebraska, his first time taking a visit, and right off the bat, he said he loved Lincoln. He said that it was super cool to see a historic program like Nebraska make a bowl game and really be a part of history. He said it was cool that him and his dad got to experience that win versus Wisconsin. Malachi Lee also said that he has a really good connection with Dylan Raiola, really good connection with his uncle Donovan, and he says that he likes that Nebraska is building a connection in Hawaii, that a lot of good Hawaii players are coming to Nebraska, most notably Preston Tomoa, who is a four-star offensive lineman who just enrolled this fall. So again, Malachi Lee is a guy that I want you guys to remember because he is a stud, high four-star offensive lineman, really, really high character, and look at the offer list. I mean, Michigan, Georgia, Alabama, every single program in the country wants this guy. I'd imagine Michigan's the team to beat here, but Nebraska really impressed Malachi Lee, and that's going to be a pretty interesting recruiting process to watch. But that's a guy, again, Polynesian lineman coming out of the Hawaii area who really enjoyed his first trip to Lincoln. Third guy I want to talk about is a defensive back in the class of 2026. Again, I should mention that Malachi Lee is a 2026 prospect as well, but Chasten Smith is a top 200 cornerback coming out of Tennessee. And again, he loved his visit to Nebraska. This guy's just a pure man-to-man corner, really speedy, really fast, good ball skills. But coming after Nebraska's big win versus Wisconsin, he said that he's reconsidering his top schools. Nebraska was not really in that top list. Now I expect Nebraska to probably be in that top 4, top 5. Again, some of the most notable schools going after him: Kentucky, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Alabama, Michigan, among a couple others. But he really, really liked Nebraska. He said that he liked Matt Rhule. I believe that Nebraska, they're going in the right direction. He really likes Tony White as well. So watch out for Chasten Smith. He had a good visit. The Huskers definitely need his help there in the secondary from what we saw versus Wisconsin. I want to keep it with the secondary and with another guy in the class of 2026 who I expect to commit very, very soon. This is J.J. Dunnigan. He's coming out of the state of Kansas, and Nebraska has made him a priority. He's visited multiple times this season. This is a guy who is an athletic freak, listed about 6'2", can play safety, can play corner, can play the rover spot for the Huskers. He can do just about anything. But I think Nebraska will land him very, very soon. The only team that I would be worried about is Kansas State. He is a legacy of their program. His dad played for the Wildcats, but he says that he loves the direction that Nebraska is going in. He says he has a great connection with Coach Matt Rhule. He says the fan base was incredible on Saturday, like they always are. And one interesting note, he said that the staff told him that he is their number one priority in that defensive back room for the class of 2026. So J.J. Dunnigan is a guy I expect to commit to Nebraska pretty soon, but he keeps coming back for visits. Speaking of Kansas prospects, this time a 4-star I expect to commit very, very soon. I actually spoiled this on my live stream on Friday. Hunter Higgins, a 4-star defensive lineman in the class of 2026 out of the state of Kansas. I expect to commit to Nebraska in the coming months. It's almost a done deal there. He was on a visit for this Wisconsin game. He said point blank, they play with a lot of confidence. They play with a lot of swagger, and he said he wants to be a part of that. But Hunter Higgins, pretty close to a done deal there. I expected him to commit before the summer. Okay, there's some pretty notable programs still in the mix there: Wisconsin, Michigan, Oklahoma, K-State. But I think Nebraska is number one on that big board for Hunter Higgins, and I expect him to commit unless something unforeseen happened there. But Hunter Higgins is a really good prospect. He leads the state of Kansas in sacks. Think about how good Cade Pietrzak is in this class of 2025 for Nebraska. I think Hunter Higgins is better, just a standard Midwestern defensive lineman who knows how to get to the quarterback. He's a big nasty, and I'm excited to potentially add him to this 2026 class. One more guy I want to mention who made the trip, who is a notable prospect to say the least, 5-star quarterback Trey Taylor in the class of 2027. This is his second visit this year. He previously visited, I want to say, for the Rutgers game, but he said that the offense played with a lot of confidence. They said that that's improving a lot, and he also said that Dylan Raiola looked like he was having a lot of fun out there. He has a really good connection with Raiola. So again, that's a guy I want you guys to remember is Trey Taylor. He's visited multiple times. Nebraska just made his top 10 list. Michigan's probably the team to beat there on this recruiting process, but just the fact that he keeps coming back, he keeps coming on visits, I really like Nebraska's chances there. And he said the fan base was great as well. So those are the guys who most notably visited and said that they had a really, really good time. I also want to mention Cortez Mills did not make the trip. I know some people were saying, oh, Cortez Mills might show up. That's not what happened. Again, I still don't like our odds flipping Cortez Mills. I made that pretty clear last week. I'm not saying it's over. I'm not saying we have a 0% chance. I just wouldn't bet on it that Nebraska flips 4-star 2025 wide receiver Cortez Mills. So I wouldn't bet on that. Martellus Carter, another guy we talked about in the past, the 2025 4-star safety. He also did not make the trip, so I think Nebraska is probably out of the running there as well, but wanted to mention that. But Cortez Mills, going back to him, don't like our odds. I probably put about 20%. We still have a chance. It's not over. So don't quote me and say Wilson said it's not going to happen. That's not true. But I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't bet on Nebraska flipping Cortez Mills. But it's, again, definitely not over. But he did not make the trip for the Wisconsin game, so I wanted to report on that. All right, guys, pretty good weekend for Nebraska. A lot of good offensive line prospects who came for this game. A couple other guys I didn't really talk about in this video, but I talked about in last week's video on Friday. So they had a good time as well. So really, really good weekend. Good to get the victory. And again, signing day in about a week and 2 days when I'm posting this video. So get excited because we might have some flips coming our way. All right, guys, let me know down below your thoughts about Nebraska's big recruiting weekend. Let me know in the comment section. Hey, if you made this far in the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And as always, folks, go be great, go Matt Rhule, and see you in the next one.